Okay, the yellow problem is by far the hardest, and um, in order to solve it, you need to be told a few things about it beforehand. So first of all, you need to know that this is halfway in between, which is kind of obvious, but not entirely obvious because it looks shifted over a little bit. But the vertex for this one, and I'll just give it to you, is -1/2, -16. You need that in addition to also a point on the line. So I'm going to tell you right here that this is the point 2, 9. So go ahead and write that down. So we're going to start building this by using the vertex and vertex form. So we're going to write y is equal to some positive a value, x take away -1/2 is x plus 1/2 minus 16. Now, I can just tell by the shape of this thing that a is not equal to 1, so we cannot, unfortunately, just be done. So at this point, we need to figure out what that a value, which is probably greater than 1, judging by how skinny the parabola is, we need to figure out what it is, and that's where the 0.29 is going to come in handy. So I'm going to plug in the 0.29, and like we did before, I think it was on the first video or the second, we solve for a. So let's do that down here under the yellow graph. So y is 9, you write 9 is equal to a, parentheses, x is 2, plus 1/2, parentheses. Now, this is where a common mistake would be. This is x plus 1/2 squared. So you have to do that twice. 2 plus 1/2. Take away 16. And that's the equation that you need to now solve for a. So 9 is equal to 2.5, not plus, but times 2.5. And 2.5 times 2.5 is actually equal to 6.25. Something to maybe remember. 25 times 25 is 625. I don't know. A minus 16. Now we just use basic algebra. Add 16 to both sides, and you get 25 equals 6.25a, and divide both sides by 6.25. And now we have an answer, and we're getting somewhere. We know that this is a 4. Okay, so now we have that. We can tell a few things about this. We're going to take it to standard form now. So in order to do that, we need to FOIL this, multiply it by 4, and take away 16. So I would like you to do that work up here. So go x plus 1/2, parentheses, x plus 1/2, minus 16. Okay, here we go. So first gives us x squared, and then 1/2 x plus 1/2 x is going to be x, and then 1/2 times 1/2 is a 4th. Now I need to multiply all of this by 4, which is going to give me 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 minus 16. Now I need to go 1 minus 16, and it's going to give me 4x squared plus 4x minus 15. And now we have this in standard form. Okay, from here we can spot the y-intercept when x is 0. Y is -15, which makes sense because it does look like it would be about -15. So that is the point 0, -15. All right. Now, I want you to pause the video and see if you can get from here to here to here, because I'd be really impressed if you could. So go ahead and pause it if you need to. If you get stuck, unpause it, and then follow these directions. So when we're doing this, you want to start thinking about the factored form of the equation. So let's look to factor this. In the top of my diamond would be -60, and in the middle of my diamond would be 4. You could pause the video again if you want to work on two numbers that multiply to -60 and add to -4. I'm going to go ahead and write them in. -10 and 6. Only switch that. +10 and -6, because 10 minus 6 is 4. So we're going to split this into those two. So I kind of wish I would not have written this so big, but we'll try to fit it in. So 4x squared plus 10x. We're splitting the 4x into these two. minus 6x minus 15. And now I am going to, let's just show the work down here where it says factored form. So basically I'll write that whole next line here, 4x squared plus 10x minus 6x minus 15. And then we're going to factor by grouping. So you could take a 2x out of these two, parentheses 2x plus 2x times what is 10x, 5. Drop down to negative, take a 2x out of these, parentheses, I'm sorry, not a 2x, this is incorrect. The greatest common factor of these two things is 3. And 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Sure enough, these two match, so I would write y is equal to the 2 on the outside, so 2x minus 3, parentheses 2x plus 5. Okay, now we need to figure out what x value would give us 0 for y. So 2 times what would give us 3 here, so we could go 3 minus 3. Well, kind of doing the opposite of what we did before, the answer is this number over this number and the opposite of the symbol. So one of the answers is 3 over 2, comma 0. Because 3 over 2, 2 times 3 over 2 would give us 3, and 3 minus 3 is 0. And then our other x-intercept would be this number over this number, which is 5 over 2. And then the opposite of this symbol, which is negative 5 over 2, comma 0. And sure enough, this looks like it would be about 3 over 2. That looks like it would be, about negative 5 over 2. And that is one big problem. So all of that work, make sure that you have it down, and go ahead, and if you do, you are finished for the day. Let me know if you have any questions on any of this. Thank you.